Hello, everyone, and welcome to Western Connecticut State University's College-Bound Financial Aid 101 program. My name is Kaylee Cragen. I'm an admissions representative here at Western Connecticut State University. I'm very excited you chose to join us today to hear a little bit more about you or your students' next steps in the financial aid process. The video that you're about to watch was recorded on February 9th. It has members from our Financial Aid and Student Employment Office. They'll be going through the FAFSA process, the Financial Aid Award next steps, and a little bit more about the financial aid process in general. If you have any questions during this program, please feel free. On the right-hand side of this screen, there's a live chat feature. We have a representative from our financial aid office there to answer any questions that you do have about your student or yourself. Now, I hope you enjoy our video. Thank you again for attending. We hope to see you sometime soon, either on campus or virtually at another event. Have a good rest of your day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Western Connecticut State University's Financial Aid 101 College Bound program. My name is Kaylee Cragen. I'm an admissions representative here at WCSU. We're very excited to have you here today for our virtual event. With me today, I have a few members from our Financial Aid and Student Employment Office. We're very much looking forward to sharing a little bit more with you about WCSU and our financial aid procedures. Now, before we dive into our presentation, I want to remind our audience at the bottom of your screen, you do have a chat feature. At the end of our presentation today, we will be doing a live question and answer session. So if you have any questions at all now, through our presentation, please feel free to start chatting them in. Now I'm going to hand it over to Director Melissa, if you'd like to start.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Stevens, and I'm the Director of Financial Aid and an alum of Western Connecticut State University. We recognize that finances play a very important role in selecting a college, and the cost of higher education is a significant investment, but it is by far the best financial investment most of us will ever make. We are here to help you make WCSU an affordable investment for you and your family. 80% of our students receive some sort of financial aid, and upon graduation, our students have an average student loan indebtedness of only $24,300, well under the national average of student loan indebtedness, which is now currently over $30,000. The Financial Aid Office at WCSU is a team of professional financial aid counselors that are available to help you through the financial aid process. The first and most important step in receiving financial aid is applying. I have asked some of our senior team members to join me tonight and provide you with information on how to prepare to apply, on the application process itself, sources and types of financial aid, additional financial aid options, as well as other information that you might find helpful. Don't worry if you miss something or you can't remember what we share in this video. All of this information is available to you on our financial aid website at www.wcsu.edu/financial aid. I now would like to introduce you to my Assistant Director, Dr. Anna Maria Heredia.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Hello, everyone. I will talk to you about accessing the application, your first steps, and how to prepare to apply for financial aid. So the first step is creating an FSA ID. Each student and at least one parent should create this FSA ID. It will be your electronic access to all federal online systems. That will take a couple days for it to process before you can log into the system to use it. However, you can still initiate the FAFSA application while you're waiting for your FSA ID. The FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, becomes available October 1 of every year. That can be accessed at studentaid.gov, and this will also be in the resources available to you. The application is used to determine need-based eligibility. Within the application, it will alternate between the student information as well as the parent's information. You can use what is called the data retrieval tool on the application to make it a much simpler process for you. This data retrieval tool pulls your information directly from the IRS, which makes it much easier for you and quicker, and less likely that you would be selected for a process called verification, which I will speak about in a second. Just to keep in mind, the deadline for submission of the FAFSA at WCSU is March 1st. If you are selected for the process called verification, that deadline is April 1st. And remember, you must apply each year, each academic year. So what happens next? Once you've submitted your FAFSA application, you receive what's called a student aid report. You can actually see this at the end of your application to review all of your information. This will be processed. You'll receive emails from Federal Student Aid with this linked so that you can just verify all of the information. If you are selected for the process called verification, this is just another step to verify the information that you've input on your application. Western uses a third-party company named Inceptia. So if you are selected for this process, you will receive an email from Inceptia introducing the company and referring you to create your account. On this as well, the student, if you are a dependent student, your parent will also need to create an account to complete verification. That process can depend on what information is required of you. Once you create your account, you will receive a task list from Inceptia to complete. Once that process is complete, Western is notified that your file is verified, and we can then proceed to award you. I will now pass it on. I'm sorry. I will now pass it on to our Associate Director, Amanda Favalli.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. So at this point, we are in the process of finalizing financial aid packages to send out to incoming students. And once we award you, we will send an official award notification to you via email. The email address that it will be sent to is the email address that you provided on your admissions application. Now, the award notification that we send is just a summary of what we've awarded you. But in the email, there will be a link that provides step-by-step instructions for students to log into their accounts and take them through a process to view their awards, as well as accept and/or decline them. Once you have accepted your financial aid award package, if you choose to accept any portion of a student loan, you will also be required to complete additional loan requirements. There are several types of aid available to students who apply for financial aid that you may see when you log in to view your package. It is important to keep in mind that when we talk about financial aid, we're not only talking about grants and scholarships, but also about student loans. Some of the different grants that WCSU offers, the first one is the federal Pell Grant. Now, this is a federal grant that is given out to students with the highest financial need as demonstrated by the FAFSA. The amount of the Pell Grant is not determined by the university, but is directly related to your EFC, which is calculated by the FAFSA, as well as the student's enrollment status. The Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, also known as SEOG, is another federal grant that is also awarded to students with the highest financial need. The Roberta B. Willis Scholarship is a state-funded grant that we award out to students who are Connecticut residents only. Eligible students must be enrolled full-time, and your EFC that is determined by the FAFSA has to be less than about $10,000. The last type of grant that you might see as part of your award package is the Connecticut State University grant, or sometimes we refer to it as CSUG. And that is an institutional grant that is not limited to Connecticut residents. This is a need-based grant that students must demonstrate financial need, again, as determined by their FAFSA. Now, the 4 grants that I just mentioned are free money, and they do not need to be repaid. Students may also be eligible to receive federal work study. This is not a grant in the sense that it will not be applied to your student bill to reduce your cost, but rather provides an opportunity for students to work on campus and earn a paycheck. Students who are awarded work study are eligible for up to 20 hours per week, and the pay rate is determined by the hiring department. Western Connecticut State University also has merit-based scholarships that are available to students, the Presidential Merit, a Trustees Scholarship, and an Honors Scholarship. Eligibility for all of these scholarships is determined at the time of admission, and initial notification of eligibility will come from the admissions office. All students who apply for financial aid are also eligible for their federal direct student loans, and there are two types of those direct loans that you may qualify for. The first one is the subsidized loan. This is the need-based loan. Interest and payment on this loan are deferred until 6 months after a student graduates, stops attending, or enrolls less than half-time status. The other loan is an unsubsidized loan. This is a non-need-based loan, and payment is deferred until 6 months after a student graduates, stops attending, or again enrolls less than half-time. The most important difference between these two loans is that the unsubsidized loan will begin accruing interest immediately while you are still in school. Currently, the interest rate on both of these loans is 2.75%, and the amount that you are awarded in these loans are also dependent on your grade level. Now, some students may also receive private funding in the form of scholarships from various organizations, such as their high school, civic organizations, or community organizations. These sources of funding need to be reported to our office, as they may impact your financial aid eligibility. So after all of these types of aid, if there's still a balance that you would owe out of pocket, you have a couple of different additional financing options. The first one is the Federal Direct Parent Plus Loan. This is a federal loan available to parents of dependent students. The parents must apply and be approved in order to take this loan for the student. If a parent is approved and decides to take this loan in their name, they are responsible for paying the interest accrued while the student is in school. The current interest rate for this loan is currently 5.3%. Now, let's say a parent applies for this Parent Plus loan and gets denied based on their credit history. In this case, you have a few options. You can choose to appeal the credit decision. You can choose to move forward with this loan by securing an endorser, or you can choose to no longer pursue the Parent Plus loan. If you choose not to pursue the Parent Plus loan any further, the student then becomes eligible to receive an additional $4,000 for the year in their federal unsubsidized loan. The other option you have for additional financing, if you're still left with a gap, is private educational loans. These are loans that a student can apply for, and they must be approved. Many times a lender will not approve the student on their own, and the student ends up needing to get a co-signer. There are several lenders available to choose from when it comes to private loans, and we have a website, elmselect.com, to help you decide which one might be best for you. This website allows you to view the details of each loan product and compare them to one another. Once you have decided on a specific loan, you can link directly to that lender's website, and then all communication happens electronically between that lender and WCSU.
Thank you, Amanda. We know that life sometimes happens, and things can directly impact your family and our family finances and our ability to contribute towards education. But we don't want those things in life to impact your ability to attend or continue attending school. If your family has experienced a loss of income or an increase in expenses or any other extenuating circumstances that have affected your family's financial situation, please let us know by completing a change of income review only after you've been awarded. So please allow us to package you initially once you receive that initial award package via email, as Amanda described. If there are additional needs and you fall into any of these extenuating circumstances as I've just listed, you can complete a change of income review. And we do that link will be posted on our website for your viewing. To assist you through this process, we have partnered with Inceptia, a nonprofit organization committed to helping us help you. Inceptia will provide you with an accessible, intuitive tool that will guide you through the process to request of what we call a professional judgment review. We have shared with you a wealth of information today, and we hope that you find this information helpful as you continue your college search. Moreover, we hope that you identify Western Connecticut State University as your choice, as a valuable and affordable choice for you. Please remember to visit our WCSU Financial Aid website and check out the resources listed on our slides, both on the slide here as well as under event resources for you. You can also follow us on Instagram at WCSU Financial Aid, and always feel free to contact us with any of your questions or concerns directly. As I may have failed to mention before, each student upon your acceptance was assigned to a financial aid counselor by your last name. Those counselors are listed on our website for you, so please feel free to reach out to your personal financial aid counselor directly. Kaylee will now go to questions and answers.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for presenting that. Now, folks, as a reminder, chat feature right at the bottom of your screen. We do have some questions that have been coming in throughout the presentation, but please feel free, if you have any questions at all for our awesome panel here today, start chatting some more in. Now, I'm going to start with the first question. Melissa, if you don't mind answering for me. The student says that they've received their acceptance, they filled out the FAFSA and the verification gateway that they were asked to fill out. When should they expect to receive their financial aid award?
So we are in the final stages of preparing for our first group of financial aid packages to go out this week. At the very latest, by the end of next week, all students would receive a financial aid award offer in the mail. Via email using the email address that they applied to the admissions office with on their common application. So check your email addresses. Also, please check your email accounts to see if you've received any communication from us letting you know that there's missing or additional information needed from you so that you can ensure that you are part of that first group that we are packaging.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. Now, Amanda, would you be able to answer our next question over here? The student is asking if they need to pay their enrollment deposit to receive a financial aid award.
No, they do not need, students do not need to pay their deposit in order to be given an initial award package. Those will be sent out to accepted students who have all of their financial aid requirements completed.
Great, thanks, Amanda. Now, Anna Maria, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about work study for applying students?
I'm muted. I keep doing that. There is a question on the FAFSA application if a student is interested in federal work study. And Amanda did speak a little bit about that. Work study is an opportunity for students to work on campus and be paid through their financial aid award. It is, if you do not answer yes to that question, it doesn't mean you're not, it may not be an option for you. You can always contact our office. You can contact me directly, actually, to verify your eligibility for work study. And if funding is available and we're able to offer it to you, we certainly will. For our other student employment opportunities, we do have a section on our website where job postings will be listed as they come in, more toward the start of a semester. So currently, if you were to check our website, there are positions that are for our current students for the spring semester that are there. So throughout the summer, as I receive job posts for the upcoming fall semester, they'll begin to be listed on that website, and you can check those and apply directly with departments.
Great, thanks, Anna Maria. Now, Melissa, would you be able to answer this next question? The student is asking, when is the deadline for, and now I'm going to mispronounce it, is it the acronym AACTUS? You know it best.
It's ACTUS.
ACTUS.
Yeah. So ACTUS is the aid application for Connecticut undocumented students, and the deadline for that application is March 1st. It is consistent with our other financial aid deadline for all financial aid purposes. The ACTUS must be completed, signed, and all supporting documentation attached to it in order for us to accept it by March 1st.
Great, thank you. Now, Amanda, would you be able to answer this question? The student is asking if there is an out-of-state grant.
Sure. So there's not a grant that is specific to out-of-state students, but we do have the Connecticut State University grant, or as we like to call it, CSUG, that there is no requirement for a residency, so it can be given to Connecticut residents as well as students who live out of state.
Great, thanks, Amanda. Now we have another question, Anna Maria. The student was wondering what types of on-campus jobs that work-study students are able to receive.
Okay. I do want to add that work study is not required for students to actually work on campus. It is helpful in assisting them to find and secure a job on campus. However, it's not required. So we employ about 800 students, probably more, on campus throughout the university in different capacities, whether within specific academic departments or administrative offices such as financial aid. And also we have our recreation department and several different areas in student affairs. So if a student has specific interests in a particular area, they can contact me. We can review some potential contacts for them. But the job process is just like finding any other part-time job. So the departments actually hire their own students. We don't place them out of financial aid, but we do point them in a direction to get that process started.
Great, thanks, Anna Maria. Now, Melissa, we have a question from a student who was asking, they were sent a student aid report for the second time. Do they need to fill it out?
No, so the student aid report is simply a summary of what was submitted on the FAFSA form. So if you've received 2 of those, it's probably because you did an initial one and then maybe made a change, or an institution made a change on your behalf on the FAFSA form itself, which is why you're receiving a student aid report. So it's important that you just review it and make sure everything is accurate and true to the best of your knowledge. And if it is, there's nothing more that you need to do. I'm also seeing some other questions that are coming through in regards to how to verify whether or not we have either received your FAFSA form or that we've received all of the information needed. You are more than welcome to contact your personal financial aid officer that's been assigned to you. If you look on the slide, one of the initial slides, this one here, all of the financial aid counselors are listed there. So please feel free to reach out to them directly. You can also always call our main number, which is 203-837-8580. And you can also ask your questions there, or you can also always directly email us at wcsufinancialaid@wcsu.edu. That's probably the best way to make sure that you are all set. There's another additional question coming through regarding the ACTIS deadline, whether or not it's the same for all Connecticut universities. I know that we try very hard to make it the same across the board, but each of us have our own business practices. I do know that the 4 CSUs, being Central Connecticut, Western Connecticut, Southern, and Eastern Connecticut, all share the same deadline of March 1. UConn does have an earlier date, and I believe that was February 15th, but and you do have to apply at each institution. So you can copy what you have filled out on the ACTIS and then submit it to each institution, but an application is required for each institution.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. Now we have another question coming in.
Yeah.
Amanda, if you'd be able to answer this for me. The student is asking what the average cost might be after receiving financial aid.
So the average cost, I'm going to jump in, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
The average cost is very specific to the students because the varying needs of each student. You can have a student who has a very significant need and their costs after aid may be nothing at all. And then you may have students who have need that exceed the cost of attendance, and their remaining cost afterwards might be a little more than that, obviously, and they may be limited to only receiving their unsubsidized loans. So that's a very specific thing. We do have a calculator on our website. It's called the Net Price Calculator, and it's a link under the admissions tab on the WCSU site. It is a little dated in that it's historical data, but you can always answer just a few questions about your situation, and it'll give you a scenario, a likely scenario of what your aid package might be. I would tell you at this point, because we're so close to sending out our packages, is be patient, let the package come to you. You should get it by the end of next week, if not sooner, and you will be able to see exactly what your cost will be.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. And I wanted to add on to that as well. I saw a question about merit-based scholarships. For students that we awarded merit-based scholarships through the admissions office, it should have come within your acceptance packet. So if you haven't gone through your entire acceptance packet, please be sure to do so. There's important information in there, along with your Arrive in 5 packet as well that you'll need to complete in order to attend WCSU in the fall. So if you haven't look through that trifold, acceptance packet and whatnot. But I appreciate, thank you for answering that, Melissa. Now we have a couple of questions coming in specifically about the FAFSA. Now a question came in, Amanda, if you don't mind answering. The student is having, trouble filling out the FAFSA and whatnot. I know you talked about earlier, Melissa, financial aid counselors that they can contact from WCSU. Would you recommend, or maybe this is a question for Melissa, email best? I know our offices are open Monday through Friday.
Yeah. So our office is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 p.m. And you can reach us by phone or by email. There's always someone who will be able to answer your call. I do see the questions coming in, people being concerned that maybe we haven't received the FAFSA form. Sometimes that happens if your name may be different in our system than what you supplied on the FAFSA form. It could be hung up in a process we call suspense. So it is really important that you communicate with us if you don't think that we have what you've submitted. Again, we're getting more questions about when will the financial aid package be sent. Our goal is to send all those out by the end of next week. So as long as you have everything in to us and we've received a valid FAFSA form for you and you've submitted any other documentation we've requested of you, you should be, and you've been accepted by the institution, you should hear from us by the end of next week. There are some specific questions coming through the chat. Again, if you have very questions that are specific to you, please contact us directly. If someone's asking the question, are education major classes on a certain part of campus? So the majority of our education courses are offered on our Midtown campus, but understand that while we do have 2 campuses, it really operates very much as one, and it will become very seamless to you. So the majority of our education courses are on the main Midtown campus, which is located in the downtown Danbury area, but that doesn't mean that you won't necessarily have classes on the West Side campus as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa.
Kaylee,
Go ahead.
Kaylee, there is a question regarding whether or not someone needs to submit their SAT or ACT scores to be considered for the merit scholarship. This year was unique. Typically, we do require the SAT scores. However, because we are SAT optional and considering everything that has happened this past year, we did not necessarily require it, although it was preferred.
That is correct. Yes. Thank you, Melissa. Wonderful. We have a few questions coming in about specifically, I know we went over obviously filling out the FAFSA, getting your application in and whatnot, and we're excited for our awards to go out very, very soon to all of our accepted students. But after getting, the award, Anna Maria, would you be able to talk a little bit more about the difference, between unsubsidized and subsidized loans?
Sure. I see a question there before I go into that. Someone asking that they haven't received anything from FAFSA, and when they called, we didn't have their records. Currently, there are 2 academic years listed on the FAFSA website. So you want to be sure that you completed the 2021-2022 application if you're starting this upcoming fall. So that's one thing. And you also want to be sure that you actually submitted your application. That's often a mistake that some people make. They just don't hit that submit button, and then it's just hanging there. But you would get reminders if you did not submit the information. You would get a reminder from Federal Student Aid that you still need to submit that application. So I just wanted to answer that really quickly. And to go back to your original question, the difference between unsubsidized and subsidized loans. Subsidized loan is a need-based loan, so it's dependent on the student's particular information. But the primary difference is when the interest on that student loan begins to accrue. So for subsidized loans, it does not begin to accrue until the student completes their program or is enrolled less than half time or leaves the program. Whereas with an unsubsidized loan, the interest does begin to accrue while the student is enrolled.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna Maria. Now, I have a question for Amanda that came in. I know our priority deadline is on March 1st for those students who are watching and perhaps haven't applied for financial aid yet. Are students still able to apply after the deadline?
Yeah, students can actually apply for financial aid throughout the academic year. The reason we have the priority deadline is just to get priority funding, basically. So we award out on a first come, first served basis all of our grant money. And so the earlier you apply, the better chance you have of getting the best financial aid package that we can offer you. Unfortunately, many times there comes a point during the academic year where we may not be able to offer students a financial aid package that we may have been able to had they applied earlier. So that's why we encourage students to apply by our date of March 1st.
Great, thanks, Amanda. And we have another question coming in, Melissa, if you would be able to answer. The student is asking, once they receive their financial aid award and it doesn't cover enough of their bill, what they can do after?
Yeah. So as we had covered earlier, there are several things that you can do once you receive your financial aid award package, and if it doesn't quite meet your needs and cover your entire package. First and foremost, you can always apply for a Parent Plus loan. A Parent Plus loan is a loan that your parents would apply for in their name. It is not guaranteed to them, and it is based on their credit. But if they apply for the Parent Plus loan and get denied, that would then qualify you to receive as a student up to an additional $4,000 in your own name in the unsubsidized loan, which is currently not accruing any interest whatsoever at this point in time. The other thing you could do is you can always apply for private alternative loans. And we do have a resource for you on our website called elmselect.com. Elm Select would allow you to randomly identify private lenders that will lend to you for educational purposes. This would be in your name, and many of our traditionally aged students have to use a cosigner in order to get approved, but that is another option. Lastly, you can always set up payment plans if you needed to set up a payment plan by term. And obviously, if there are any extenuating circumstances, if your parents have experienced loss of income, increased expenses, a sudden death, a sudden illness that is creating a hardship for you and your family, please let us know. But do not let us know until after we have awarded you. So once we've awarded you and you've identified that there's a gap between what you've been awarded and what you need, it is at that point in time that you can pursue what we call the change of income process. We have partnered with Inceptia, just like we did for verification purposes, where they will provide you with an intuitive tool that will allow you to go through a step-by-step process in order to ensure that we get all the information we need from you in order to do that recalculation of eligibility. I would suggest that you work very closely with your financial aid counselor throughout the process so that we're all on the same page as to what your challenges are and what you're looking for.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. And I definitely echo that. I mean, our financial aid and student employment office has obviously all of our counselors that are assigned to students. So folks, if you're watching this and you have any questions about financial aid, please refer to, your financial aid counselor and send them an email for sure. So next question, Amanda, if I know we went over this during the presentation, one more time for those students who maybe just jumped in, would you be able to go over some sources of financial aid that we award students?
Sure. So there's a few different types of grants that we award out to students. One of them being the federal Pell Grant. This is a federal grant that is awarded to students with the highest financial need, as demonstrated by their FAFSA form. We don't, as the school, we do not determine the Pell Grant award that a student gets. It's actually determined based directly off of their EFC and their enrollment status. There's also the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, which is also awarded to students who demonstrate the highest financial need based on their FAFSA form. have the Roberta B. Willis Scholarship, which is awarded out to Connecticut residents only. And it is also based on a student's EFC. And your EFC, in order to be eligible for that, has to be below about $10,000 or so. And you also have to be full-time in order to receive it. Now, the other grant that I mentioned earlier is the Connecticut State University grant. This is kind of where we have the most flexibility. It's not limited to Connecticut residents. Your EFC doesn't have to be below a certain amount. You just have to demonstrate financial need based off of your FAFSA form. Again, it is for full-time students only, though.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. Now, I see a question that came in.
I'm sorry, Kaylee. Can I just want to clarify something that Amanda has shared in talking about all the different funds that are available. It's really important for families to know that these are not separate application processes that you need to go through. The only thing that you need to do is complete the FAFSA form. And if you're selected for verification, complete verification requirements. There is not a separate application for each of the funds that Amanda spoke of, except for the Parent Plus loan that we have talked about and the private loans. But to be considered for any federal or state grant, that is done by using the information you have supplied on the FAFSA form. So don't get worried or overwhelmed with trying to take notes on every fund and who qualifies and how much can I get, because that is our job. That is what we're here to do. So just rest assured, if you've completed the FAFSA form and submitted all the required documentation, we will give you what you qualify for based on our funding levels.
Cool. Thank you, Melissa. Now, I have a question that came in from a student. It's kind of like a two-part answer here. They're asking, if you don't meet the GPA requirement but still get accepted due to AP courses, will you still be able to receive scholarships or grants? So I'm assuming that you're asking about merit-based scholarships. If you didn't qualify for a merit-based scholarship, we do at WCSU still have, foundation scholarships that you still will be able to apply for. Those are available on our webpage for you to apply as an incoming student. Now I'm going to flip it to Melissa if you'd like to answer the portion about grants.
Yeah. So in terms of grants and everything that we award out of the financial aid office, everything we do is need-based. Nothing we do is based on your GPA. The scholarships that the admissions office offers to students upon acceptance are based on your GPA and your SAT scores if you took them, whether or not you took AP courses, all your extracurriculars, all those wonderful things are taken into consideration only at the time that you are admitted for the purposes of determining eligibility for merit-based aid. However, in the world of financial aid, we deal in the world of based on need. So everything that we do is simply based off of what you've supplied on the FAFSA form and nothing more. Obviously, if you are awarded an academic merit scholarship through admissions, there's criteria that you need to continue to maintain in order to maintain eligibility from year to year. However, that is only for those scholarships. Everything else in the world of financial aid is based on need. You are required to maintain what we call academic progress from semester to semester, where you are required to pass and complete 67% of your courses and maintain a 1.7 as a freshman or 2.0 after you've earned 30 credits. So that is the only time in which grades have anything to do with financial aid whatsoever, and that's just to maintain your eligibility.
Very cool. Thank you, Melissa. Now, I just had a question that a student chatted in. Again, I wanted to say, audience and folks who are watching our presentation, when you chat in questions, just be specific about what you're asking about. We appreciate everyone who has chatted in questions so far. It's been wonderful answering. I do want to go a little bit more specific. Anyone who'd like to take this question right over here, this student is asking about their household income, and I know we haven't sent out financial aid awards just yet, but they were asking, they sent in everything, they've done their verification and whatnot. It sounds like they had, something significant happen. Moving forward, what can they do if, again, that the award that they get does not, cover their bill?
So if you are receiving an award that doesn't meet your needs or there's a change of your family situation, again, you want to communicate that to your counselor first and foremost, and then we will be able to provide you with specific instruction as to what your options are. But as I described before, you can do Parent Plus loans, private loans, payment plans, or you can pursue the change of income and request for a recalculation of your eligibility, but only after you've been awarded.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. Now, folks, we really appreciate all of your questions that you've chatted in today. If you have any last minute ones, please do it right now. We're about to wrap up our presentation from our wonderful panel from Financial Aid and Student Employment here. If you have any last words of advice, to our accepted students and students who have submitted applications to WCSU, Anna Maria, if you'd like to start.
I'm sorry, but I missed what you said.
No, that's okay. If you have any words of advice for our accepted WCSU students excited to, come to WCSU in the fall, I know a lot of us are alum here on the panel today. Anything that you think that they, should prepare or check off their checklist before they start in the fall with us?
Sure. Actually, we're all alumni of Western. The best advice I can give you is to learn to be your own advocate, to speak up, don't be afraid to ask questions. As our director has alluded, we are assigned to students, but all of us in the office and all across the university are more than willing to help students. So don't be afraid to ask questions. You don't know what you don't know. So if you can formulate some kind of question or kind of figure out what you're trying to figure out, we can help you out. So I think that's probably one of the best things. Don't be afraid to reach out and contact someone if you're not sure about what your next step should be.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna Maria. Amanda?
I agree with what Anna said. It's very important to communicate. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're not always going to come searching for students to tell them what they need to do individually. We email students, but a lot of times the student needs to start to, again, advocate for themselves, contact us. Don't be afraid. We're here to help you. That's why we assign students to one particular financial aid counselor. This way, during your time here at Western, we can hopefully develop some sort of relationship, and they feel comfortable coming to us with whatever they might need help with.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. And Melissa, while you do your last words of advice, I'm also going to ask you one last question too. If you can answer the process of submission for the ACTIS, please.
So the ACTIS is the aid application for Connecticut undocumented students. It is I believe, and Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, it is a fillable PDF that is on our website. If I'm mistaken, then you print it out, you complete it, and then you would send that into us with supporting documentation. All of the information that you need is on our WCSU financial aid website. There's a section dedicated to just undocumented students. I would encourage you to visit that website because it will contain more information that you might find helpful beyond just applying and submitting the ACTIS. So please do that. If you have any questions at all regarding the submission of the ACTIS, you can always contact me directly and or your financial aid counselor specifically. But it is simply a form, an affidavit you sign, and you submit supporting documentation in terms of your tax returns and those sorts of things. But again, please visit the undocumented student section on our WCSU financial aid website.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. And do you have any, last words of advice for our accepted students?
Yep. So we actually, there's a question that just came through, and I would like to address that. Someone's asking the question of, are you guys changing the mascot? So the mascot has been quite the hot topic at our institution over this past semester and last summer. A decision was made that the current mascot of the Colonial was going to be put to rest, if you will. And we are currently in the process of has been a committee, a university-wide committee that has been formed to explore any new mascots. You will find this information on social media. We are having, I believe, a town hall meeting on the 19th of February, if I'm not mistaken. And if you're interested, it's open to everyone to provide input. If you have an interest in it, I would encourage you to go ahead and reply to those social media posts or email us, and we can get you the link so that you can join that town hall meeting on the 19th. Again, this is open to everyone. It is not just employees. We have students who sit on the committee. We have members throughout the entire community on the committee, and it is a hot topic, and it is in the process of being changed. And again, the colonial has been put to rest. We just now need to know where we're moving forward to. So I don't see any other questions beyond that. So I will now just give my parting remarks, if you will. I want to echo what Anna and Amanda have said to you, and that is basically communicate, the importance of communicating. This is an extremely isolating time for all of us, not just you, the student, or the parent who's going through this. We as administrators and active alum of our campus are used to having these sorts of events in person, where we're giving away lots of fun things, and we're giving out popsicles in the first week of school, and we're doing raffles, and we're doing these things, and we don't have that opportunity. In fact, we're sitting here looking at each other on a screen and just knowing by a number on the screen that you're out there somewhere, but we can't see you. So we know that it's isolating for you and your family, as it is for us. And it really takes effort to pull yourself out of that and to reach out and to have that connection. Connection is so important, especially as you're going through college. We always say the most important things you learn in college do not happen in a classroom, but in the interactions and the relationships you have with one another. And that has been challenged during these times. So in the same sentiment of what Anna and Amanda have shared, it's basically reach out. Let us know what you're going through. Let us be a resource to you. We don't know what we don't know, just like you don't know what you don't know. But the best you could do is just send us an email and say, hey, I'm having to, or hey, I just got this in the mail. What should I do? And, as Anna said, we on this panel are all alum. Anna graduated here. Amanda did with her bachelor's. Anna did with her bachelor's. Kaylee as well as I. Maybe not as recent as they have, but I did graduate from here. So we all have information that could be useful to all of you. That's beyond the scope of just our offices or the operations of our office. Get you in touch with who you might need to get in touch with. So again, try very hard to make connections in these very isolating times.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Melissa. And thank you to our awesome panel today who, took the time to go through a little bit more about financial aid at WCSU. Thank you to the audience for attending our program today. I want to remind everyone, if you missed anything, if you joined late, if you, came in and faded out for just a few minutes, we will have this video recorded and saved. It will be sent to you through email tomorrow morning. So please, again, I know we said it a million times, but have questions, please reach out. We're excited to have you part of our WCSU community this fall, and we're even more excited to help you, along the way and get there successfully. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and we hope to see you at another virtual event this semester very soon. Goodbye.